hadn't dropped my keys through a crack in the boardwalk that night, I probably wouldn't be alive to tell this story today. I was 15 years old at the time, living in a small beach town along the coast. Summer had just ended. The tourists were gone, and the entire boardwalk was deserted. I had a habit of going for late-night runs, so that night I was out there alone. Then, all of a sudden, I realized my pocket was empty. My house keys were gone. As I searched for them, I noticed they had fallen through a gap in the wooden boardwalk, so I climbed down into the darkness beneath it to find them. But I had no idea I wasn't alone down there.
Beneath the boardwalk, it was pitch black. The air was thick with the smell of rotting seaweed, wet sand, and old trash. The faint glow from my watch was the only light I had. I dropped to my knees and crawled through the darkness, searching for my keys, but they were nowhere to be found. Then it hit me. Maybe I was looking in the wrong spot. I climbed back up onto the boardwalk, and so I wouldn't lose the location, I tied one of my shoelaces through a crack between the wooden planks. Then, the very next second, something below grabbed the lace and yanked it hard. My heart nearly stopped. For a few seconds, I stood there completely frozen. Only one thought kept running through my mind. Someone was down there. Despite the fear, I climbed back beneath the boardwalk. This time, every sound seemed louder than before. A few yards away, I heard footsteps moving across the wet sand. I pointed the light from my watch in that direction, but there was nothing there. Then I heard the same sound again, from a different direction. A moment later, it came from somewhere else. That's when I realized the horrifying truth. There wasn't just one person hiding beneath the boardwalk. There were several. A wave of panic rushed through my body. I turned immediately and ran for the way out. For a few long moments, I stood there frozen in place. Only one thought kept racing through my mind. Someone was down there. Even though every instinct told me to leave, I climbed back beneath the boardwalk. This time, every sound was sharper. Every little noise echoed through the darkness. A few yards away, I heard footsteps moving across the wet sand. I swung the light from my watch toward the sound, but there was nothing there. Then I heard it again, from another direction. A second later, the same footsteps came from a third direction. That's when the horrifying truth hit me. There wasn't just one person hiding beneath the boardwalk. There were several. A wave of terror shot through my entire body. Without thinking, I spun around and made a run for the exit. The moment I got home, I started pounding on the front door. When my dad opened it, he was angry at first, but the instant he saw the deep scratch marks around my ankle, the color drained from his face. I told him everything that had happened. That same night, the police came to our house. The next morning, we had every lock replaced. Everyone thought the danger was finally over. But 3 days later, early that morning, someone started pounding on our front door. I looked through the peephole. There was no one there. As I reached for the doorknob, my eyes dropped to the ground, and my breath caught in my throat. I slowly looked down, and my whole body started shaking. Lying on the front porch was the same shoelace, the one I had left hanging through the crack in the boardwalk that night. I recognized it instantly. There was no doubt. Whatever had been hiding beneath that boardwalk had found my house. It hadn't just figured out where I lived. It had left me a message. It knew where I was, and it wanted me to know that it was watching. Without wasting a second, I slammed the door shut and showed my dad. That very evening, we had security cameras installed around the house, along with a brand new alarm system.
After the security cameras were installed, we spent weeks reviewing the footage every night. The strange part was this. We could clearly hear someone knocking on the front door, but the cameras never captured anyone. As time passed, everything slowly returned to normal. Nothing like that ever happened again. A few years later, my family moved away from that house, but we still own the beach house to this day. Whenever I go back and see that deserted boardwalk, I instinctively check my shoelaces and make sure my keys are still in my pocket, because even after all these years, I still don't know who or what was hiding beneath that boardwalk that night.
If you enjoyed this terrifying journey, subscribe to Mr. Nightmare 2.0 and become part of our growing horror community. Sweet dreams, if you can sleep.